English 325 students. As I promised, here is my lecture on Turnitin. It's really going to be short. This is just my opinion about Turnitin, and you can do with it what you will. Peninsula College just recently got a year's subscription for the whole college for all of you to use Turnitin. And I have a love-hate is probably too strong. I support using Turnitin, and I have reservations about it at the same time. They do not take anything out of your student fees or anything like that for using this. This is purely just college money, so it's not like any of the money that you pay for tuition or anything goes toward this. It's kind of interesting because if you read at the end of the ethics chapter, one of the exercises, I didn't actually ask you to do this exercise, but there's an exercise on students writing a protest letter about their school using student fees to pay for Turnitin, and we are not doing that. Not only we are not doing the exercise, Peninsula College is not doing that, so that's a good thing. Anyway, so what do I like about Turnitin? One of the things that I like about Turnitin, and you probably don't see this from your side of it when you log in, is that it acts like a course shell, an angel, and you could use it that way if you wanted to from a teacher's perspective. It has places for discussion boards, places for peer review, places to check grammar. The program is much more powerful, or I should say the website, it's not really a program, is much more powerful than what the name Turnitin gives it credit for. And so in that way, I like it. As far as the plagiarism detection itself, there are things about that I like too. I like that it compares papers and shows me in absolutely no uncertain terms how much of the paper is plagiarized. It has it in a big differently colored boxes depending on where the plagiarism came from. Everything that's plagiarized from a different site gets a different color, so it's really easy to tell. And it does not reveal who plagiarized, but it does reveal what school they're from. And I like that it's really easy to use. I also like that while it does not search free essay sites and can't, I do appreciate the fact that many colleges and universities across the country subscribe to it, and students who have gotten free essays or even essays that they've paid for off of cheating sites submit them, and they submit them to Turnitin, and so Turnitin has a database of papers that have been submitted to these cheating essay sites. As a little side note, did you know that you can buy an entire doctoral dissertation on paid-for essay sites? $9.95 a page. Someone will write a doctoral dissertation for you, and to think that I worked so hard on my doctoral dissertation when I could have just paid $9.95 a page for probably something that isn't anywhere near as good as I would write it. But anyway, for what that's worth, which is not very much. All right. Also, so I'm going to try to start with the positives with my notes here in front of me. It also works great as a teaching tool, and I use Turnitin as a teaching tool, not a gotcha tool. As a teaching tool, I find that most students who plagiarize, sometimes I get the I just pulled it off Wikipedia, or I just pulled it off the free essay site, or even something paid for. That doesn't happen that much. What happens much more often is that students will pull material off of websites and they don't know how to quote and they don't know how to cite, and they accidentally plagiarize. And as an English teacher who teaches citation and all that kind of stuff, that's fine. It's a learning tool, and I apologize if the screen just went dark. I'm using a screen capture program, and so if the screen just turned dark and you can still hear my voice, then it's just because my power saver came on and it's just recording the screen. So anyway, Turnitin works great as a teaching tool because then I'm able to show students exactly what is plagiarized and how to change it, how to cite it correctly. And so it works great in that way. I also like it that it has a grammar checker in there, and I keep trying to get it to work, the grammar checker to work for you, and I have not been able to get it to do that, and I think it's because they want you, see, I'm going to put my cursor here, they want you to pay for Write Check for students, and I'd recommend doing that actually. It's an electronic grading system from the Educational Testing Service. But it comes in pretty handy, and it shows exactly what your mistakes are, and it even labels them if it looks the same as my screen and Turnitin does when I run the grammar check on it. So that is a pretty cool thing, and it most of the time saves me, actually philosophically, it would save me some time in grading grammar. However, I find that it doesn't really save me much time in grammar because I go through and I check over all of the mistakes that it points out because I don't take for granted that the machine got it correctly. And so in that sense, it doesn't save me any time at all. So what don't I like about Turnitin? A couple of main things. I do not like the presumption of guilt in automatically submitting all papers. I have no problem submitting papers that I think were plagiarized, and just to let you know, it is readily apparent to me when I'm looking at plagiarized work. And so I don't like that idea of just submitting all the papers. Now, when I get a plagiarized paper, what I do is I run a phrase or two through Google, and usually it'll pick it up, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes somebody has gotten it off, they bought it off of a cheating site or something like that, so I have no access to that, but I can still tell that that it's not that student's work. But that idea of you're guilty until proven innocent, I just, that's not what our country is about. So in that sense, I'm morally opposed to just automatically submitting all of the papers in there. But I suppose on the other hand, that if everybody in the whole school knows that those papers just go in automatically, then are we good with that? Is stopping everybody at the border crossing in Arizona going north from Mexico, is that morally sound? I don't know. I spend a fair amount of time in Arizona almost every summer and sometimes in the spring, and I noticed that they stop everybody going north, and so how I feel about that morally, I don't like it, but they do stop everyone. So you can think about that as you will. Um, I also do not like that it uses your papers as a profit center, right? And you don't get any profit off of it. It's just using your papers as how they make money, right? And it forms their database. And if it wasn't for their database of student papers, they would not be having 20 million graded papers, 19 million, sorry, 903,159 graded papers so far. Which reminds me of the 1 billion served on McDonald's, the old McDonald's signs. Anyway, that's kind of old school. A lot of you probably haven't even seen those things. Now, one student actually argued for Turnitin, and that Turnitin protects students. And people do sometimes steal papers, right? They and it happened last year that somebody online stole somebody's password and submitted another student's work as theirs. They ended up being caught, but this student that I had last year said, it really protects students too. So I suppose you could think about it that way. It, like anything, it has its upsides and its downsides, but it's here, and discuss it. I think the idea of Turnitin is a really interesting one, and there's always, I see, you can see my Camtasia thing here, and I'm wondering if it's still recording me. I'm not seeing the little record thing. Uh-oh. Not sure how to turn it off. Hope you're not still listening to me making a fool out of myself as I'm sort of talking to myself and trying to figure out what's going on. Turn off.